All right. So, okay, so I'm just going to go in no particular order here. In the marketing department, Sarah, I don't know if you have anything to add, but I want to let everybody know we're running pretty short on leads for the month. As of yesterday, which is we're halfway through the month, we only have, where did I put it? 16 leads. So we're really short on leads this month. And the marketing department wanted to make sure we followed up with you to make sure that if you are a Facebook user, which I know most of you are, that you follow Au Pair Care so that you can share and forward posts that they put up. So you don't have to create anything. All you got to do is just forward it or share it with your audience. So just in case you're not already following Au Pair Care, they want to make sure we pass that suggestion on. Sarah, that's all I had for marketing. Did you have anything you want to add?
Not really. The only thing would be if, remember, if you're at an orientation meeting, I've had like 10 in the last couple of weeks, I think. So if you're at an orientation, you know, it's always good opportunity to ask these families if they have any friends that are thinking about hosting. You know, that might be a good opportunity to try to get some leads in. So
yeah, first-time families are usually the most enthusiastic, unless their match is not going well. But barring that, that's usually a good time to get people. Can I mute everyone? Yes, that's probably a good idea. Heather, thank you. Let me remember how to do that. Oh, and it's immediately quiet. Thank you, Heather. So just let me know, send me a message or wave if you want to get off mute. Otherwise, I'll just keep it this way because it's much quieter. So Sarah, anything else? Shake your head yes if you do, and I'll take you off. No? Okay. This is so weird. It's quiet now, but it's just like almost too quiet. Let's see. A compliance issue that has come up a couple times recently. So every family must have a written schedule. So if the family has a standing schedule, that's fine, but it should be written down. And there's no situation under which they don't have to have a schedule. So even if the au pair is working 20 hours a week or whatever, we've had, I don't know, 3 problems recently, and it came down to the fact that there was no schedule for the au pair. So just a reminder on that. Salesforce items. Lately I've been seeing a lot, you know, sometimes you go out to do a mediation and it turns into an exit interview. You only need to enter the exit interview into Salesforce. If they're separate days, then of course you'll enter the mediation, and then maybe the match falls apart a couple weeks later, then you'll have 2. But if it happens at the same time, you only need to enter the exit interview. You don't need to do both. Let's see, and a reminder that you need to put a problem report in the system before you put the exit interview in, because that's what I'm going to go check before I process it and make sure that things are documented. So start with that, start with the case. You probably started one before you went out for the mediation or for the exit interview, so you can change the title to say match ended or just add on to it, but there needs to be something in the system to document that the match is ending. And also a reminder that when you are filling out the exit interview on Salesforce, please be aware that most of the fields that you enter that are longhand or full sentences are public. So please do not use abbreviations. I would say probably about 90% of you do. So then I have to go back and rewrite out host family, au pair, whatever. So just try to remember to spell out host mom or use the au pair's first name or whatever, but not to use HF or AP in those public sections. Let's see. Oh, also still in Salesforce here. It's really, really important that if you have an au pair who's floating, that you either check in with her or train her to update you, I'd say every day. And I need to see an update in Salesforce at least every other day. I'll look in the case, I'll look in the activity history. I'm not even picky, but I need to know if those au pairs are moving or not. And if I go in there and look and there's nothing there, then I have to email you and ask you to do this, to put an update in there, basically. So if you can just be more proactive about doing it, that'll save me a step, and it'll save you having to do it later as well. What else did I put in here? Oh, one thing I wanted to show everybody, which is not new. Oh, wait a second. There's a question here. Heather has a question about schedule. So going back a minute here, it says, can I clarify if a host family has a split shift, how much time should be allotted between first and second shift? First of all, that is not a Department of State rule, but Au Pair Care's policy/practice has always been that you need to have at least 4 hours off in between the splits. Because if you're giving somebody an hour or 2 hours, there's not even time to go work out or anything, or go see a movie or run to the mall or whatever. So we've always said 4 hours. If you have a specific scenario that you want to talk about, let me know, but that's how we've always enforced it. So I'm going to show you my screen here quick, and I just wanted to show you, well, which screen do I want to show you? I want to show you just a couple case things. Here. So this is how my open cases look. So I have the same as yours, only I just have everybody's in here. So first I want to show you an example of one that's completed correctly, which is this top one. And you will see here that the account name is the host family name. The match is both last names, so Witt and Peralta in this case. And the contact name is the au pair name. So none of these three should be the same. And it should never be your name. It should never be Midwest region. It should always be, there's times that you might have only the host family name if it's a new host family, but in most situations, you're gonna have all three listed. And one thing we discovered this week is that if you search in the match, you need to use a last name. If you put Joseph's, like if you're looking for the Joseph Smith family and you type in Joseph, it is not, that match is not going to come up because it's queuing off of the last name. You'd have to type in Smith and then pick the correct Smith from the list, which I said that came up by fluke this week, so I'm just passing that on. Other things, the subject should not say problem report, because I already know from over here that it's a problem report. So it should be descriptive of what's going on, and you can certainly change it, and you'll notice that I often do, just so I can keep, so when I go back to this list, it's a lot easier for me to keep track of who's who when they're specific, as opposed to just saying problem report. And you'll notice, I'm sure you've seen these little parentheses and dates that you'll probably see showing up on your cases. I had those just for myself, and I take them off before I close it. So, for example, ER 820 means early return on 820. So I keep the case open till the au pair leaves. So I'll close that when that time comes. The same thing for this one. And then for floaters, I leave the case open until the au pair is rematched. And so I put the last day to float in there, just so when I'm looking at these, I don't have to open them every time and refresh my memory about who I'm talking about and what dates we need to worry about. So you don't have to pay, that's nothing for you to worry about. That's just my own documentation. And then let me show you an example, well, one example. So for example, here you'll see that the account name and the contact name are the same, and they shouldn't be. So if I click on edit, all I have to do is copy and paste that last name, paste it below. Oh, that did not work. I grabbed the wrong thing apparently. Let's try that again. And then hit the little lookup. And I'm gonna assume, crap, we have to look and see what her name is. Should bring up the right one. Oh, there's only one here. What am I talking about? So, and then submit it, and now it'll show correctly. So it should be three completely different things. And again, please do not change the status or the priority. Those are done by the person who's processing it. So when you submit it, it's always going to be new. And you can look at your cases and you'll be able to tell if someone's been in there and looking at it, because it'll tell you who last modified the case. And like this one is new. So this is a case for client services. She hasn't done anything with it. She will change the status to open or something else when she's had a chance to do something with it, which is probably Christine or Doreen, depending on what the question is. And you'll notice when they go in here, they're going to put a comment down here, or activity history, depending on what it is. But you'll be able to tell what they're doing and what the status of that is. So you don't have to call them. You can just check the notes later. And if 24, 36 hours have gone by and it's important and you haven't heard anything, then follow up with an email. But you should look here first to see if they've done anything with it. And then so whoever answers this is going to change the status and the priority for their own documentation purposes. And you'll see here again, we have the account name and the contact name are the same, which is wrong. So if I just go into here to edit, and I just type in the last name, A-K-H-R-A-S, search. I'm going to guess there's only one by that name. I would be correct. And then we submit it. And the reason for that that's important is that these cases will track, but you have to link them. If I don't put the host family's name in there, it's not going to show as a case under their family if I just look them up. So now if I go to their account and look at the cases, you're going to see that case there. If you didn't have their name there, it wouldn't be there. So it's a way to make sure you know kind of what's out there on any given person. The same thing with the au pair. If her name isn't listed, it's not going to link to her account, and it wouldn't show there. So if you just looked up the au pair and didn't know there was a case, you'd have no way of knowing that if they aren't linked correctly, if that makes sense. Does anybody have questions about how to fill this out, what to put on here, anything else? Here, let me stop sharing my screen and see if I got anybody that's saying yes. Anybody want to come on and ask a question? How do I link a case was a question. You link it just by putting those names in there. That is what links it, is having the name of the au pair and the host family and the match for most cases. If it's a placement issue, it's going to be all of them. It might be, it's possible that it could be just a host family if it's a brand new host family, but generally no. One sec, ladies, I got to plug my computer back in. My daughter's moved back in the house, which means her enormous dog is also back in the house, who tends to walk through that cord about 10 times a day and unplug it. So, let's see. One more time, anybody have questions? I see a hand raised, but I don't know who that is. Let's see, let me just, okay. Well, if you do, feel free to message me, and I have those open, I can see those. What else here? Let's see. Expenses, my favorite monthly project. Not a huge thing, but since I just did them this week, just a reminder to please sign them. To please review before, Piper, get off the cord. Oh, goodness. Oh, Piper, oh, goodness gracious. I don't know how she got around her legs twice, but somehow she did. Sign and look it over, because almost every month, 2 or 3 people will have expenses from the previous month that they didn't clear out because they're just updating the form, which is fine. But there'll be leftover expense on there. And just a reminder that only black ink is reimbursable. So if you submitted expenses for colored ink, I would have taken it off there. Whoever's were here on Tuesday were sent in on Wednesday morning, which I think everybody that I've got, I only have one that came late, and she knows that. The rest of them went in this week. Let's see. Any question on expense reports? I see nobody saying yes. So, okay, we will move on. Just a reminder, vacation, please let me know if you're going to be gone. I've had a few surprises this month where I didn't know someone was going to be gone. Ideally a week or two ahead of time. So like I always send out the little reminders about what you should do before you leave and what the person who's covering for you should do. And I keep track. So if somebody's covering for me, I can tell them who's gone and who's covering for each of you. So that's just a little reminder. Let's see. Staffing changes. We have 2 area directors who are moving on at the end of the month. First one is Kim Fleming, who manages the Rochester, Minnesota area. Kim's husband is a doctor for the Mayo Clinic and is changing, I assume, employers, but jobs in any case. They're moving to the Twin Cities. So that position is open if you know anybody in Rochester. And Teresa Speed, who's not on the call today, is also leaving us at the end of the month. She accepted a full-time position as well. So Teresa's going to be finishing up at the end of the month, and we're actively interviewing for both spots if you know anybody that lives in those particular areas. If not, I'm sure they would appreciate hearing from you guys. Wishing them well. The last thing before I turn it over to Jenny is just, this is going to maybe sound dumb, but when you if I send you an email, I try to be very specific if I need something and when. So it might say, hey, please do X, Y, Z by this time. Or I might say, hey, I need an update on this. Please let me know when you've done so. Or I don't know, I do this all day long. But oftentimes I don't hear back. And then I don't really know what to do with that information. I never know, did they not get it? And I end up going to check it. And a lot of times it eventually gets done, but I have to keep checking to see if it's done. So if there's instructions in there, this came up this week. Jenny told me that a couple weeks ago we'd asked everybody to reach out to their families that were looking for August arrivals, and she only heard from a couple people out of there's 26 or 27 of you guys. And I just noticed that just in general. So just try to be cognizant of the fact that there's specific directions. It's a pain in the butt to have to follow up with, I didn't get this or I didn't get that type of thing. And then Jenny's going to talk a little bit about this too, I think, but she is still running into issues with families who are ready to match when their references are not confirmed. So we need to be on top of that so that we're not holding up a match because we haven't done our end of the bargain. Jenny, I'm going to unmute you. Oh, I thought I was going to unmute you. Hold on. Where did she go? There she is. Okay, you're unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, since you brought up references, I will start with that. The references, I know they aren't always visible. They don't show up in your work bin as a task to do like the host family interview does. So they oftentimes get forgotten because it's not in your work bin. So I think one of the ways to maybe help us remember about references is when a host family applies, it would be a good time right then and there just to check if the references have come in and go ahead and confirm them right away. If not, set yourself a task to look at their application in 5 days, 7 days, whatever is a reasonable amount of time to check if the references have come in. And then that would be a good time to do a follow-up call with the host family anyway, in case you haven't been able to schedule that host family interview with them, or just to check in on their progress towards making a match. And check if the references are in, and if they are, go ahead and confirm them. Oftentimes we get an applicant who applies and they don't match for 8 weeks maybe. And then they go to match and the references aren't confirmed. And the reference has left the country, or they said, yeah, I think I filled that out, but wasn't that like 2 months ago? And so it just really makes sense to get those confirmed right after the person fills it out, as opposed to sometime in the future. The other thing with the references is the host family, when they look in, they see the references in. They don't realize that there's another step that the host family has to complete which is confirming it. So they always ask me, well, I can't match it, but it says my references aren't in, but they clearly are showing that they're in. And then I have to go back and get to the area director and said, the host family's ready to match. Please confirm these references. So it just kind of, it just doesn't set a very good tone for the host family in terms of, how streamlined and efficient our process is. So that's probably enough about matching, but does anybody have any questions about how to set a task? Are you all familiar with task setting in your work bins?
I use them constantly.
Yeah, there's under the account, there's just like log a call. There's another square area or a rectangle area that says set a task. And then you set a task for yourself to whatever date you want. And then when you pull up your dashboard each morning, you look at your tasks, and then it'll show up on that day when you've set for you to, so you can say check references for host family Smith.
Like here.
And then there it is.
Yep, and you can if you do it from a family, for example, if I'm in this person's thing, for example, and you go and set the task from the open activities, then it's linked for you. You can also set the task from the front screen if it's not related to an account, just by clicking on new. But if you do it from the person's account, then it's already linked, and all you have to do is click there when you have something to do with that account. So, okay.
So it's pretty slick.
And very easy.
So another request I often get is, can you please unlock this host family's account? They're ready to search for a new au pair. I have never locked anybody's account, and I have no way to unlock an account. So basically, when a host family wants to start their search for a new au pair, they just log into Family Room and hit this button that says Update Profile. I don't know why it doesn't say renew your application. It just doesn't. So we're trying to get away from the verbiage of renew your application, because a host family will log in and not see a button that says renew your application. So if you have a host family who's saying, can you unlock my account, or I can't search for an au pair, before submitting a case, the first thing you should ask is, what do you see on the home page when you log in? You should see a button that says update your profile. Do you see that? And if they do, then boom, that's how they get in. That's how they start their search. So you can help them right away without submitting a case, because they can 99% of the time do it themselves. There isn't a glitch in the system. There isn't anything wrong with their account. Now, of course, if it's a rematch, they cannot do that until Jennifer processes the exit interview. So I can't get a host family into selections early. I can't get them looking at au pairs sooner. That exit interview has to be done, and Jennifer has to process it before they can get in. And then they will get an email letting them know that their account is open and they should be able to log in and update that profile button. Does anybody have any questions about how a family starts their search again?
Renee does. Let me unmute you, Renee. Or did you already do it, Jenny?
No, I did. I can hear.
Yeah, I can hear. Yes.
No, you can't?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No. So, Ginny, I always get the question, oh God, now you can hear my dog too. The host family will say, oh, my references, they can't submit their reference. Can you send me the link? Mm-hmm. I always have a problem trying to send the link to the host family's references. How do you do that?
You go to the application and you go to the references, and then there is a URL there. So you can copy that URL and paste it into an email and send an email to the host family. And just say, dear host family, please use this link to complete a reference for host family Smith.
But that particular URL for that family is only for that family? Like, I couldn't copy that URL and send it to a different family, could I?
No, because their name will automatically be populated in there and it'll link back to that account. Because if you sent them a different URL for another host family, the reference would go to that other host family. So you would want to go to your host family, and then you'll see the two references there, and then you will see a URL next to their name.
And that's on the application page.
Yes, right. Correct. So they have, what's happened is they were sent it and it must have gone to their spam.
Ah, okay.
And so you can then follow up with a phone call and just say, I just sent you the link now. Please check for it. Perhaps it's in your spam if you complete it. And then worst comes to worst, you can take the reference over the phone and key in all the answers for them.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But we like to have it, via email first with your telephone confirmation. But if for some reason it just won't go through to them, I haven't had that happen, but if it won't, just go ahead, take the reference by phone, ask them each of the questions, write in their response, and then you would be completing and confirming in one step.
Okay, so when you copy and paste that URL, do you suggest sending it to the family for the family to then send to their reference, or send it directly to the reference?
Send it directly to the reference.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay, and maybe the email address is wrong. You can always ask the host family to confirm the email address, or if they'd have a different email address that doesn't throw everything into spam, or, that kind of thing too.
Any other questions for Ginny? I'm sorry, Ginny, I might have cut you off. Did you have other things you were gonna?
Yeah, well, I have a couple of other things.
All right.
I just wanted to make you aware that we are continuing Saturday matching until October 1st. So we'll have someone in the office from 12 to 4 Central Time on Saturday afternoons until October 1st. And I also wanted to make you aware that there is, and with that, so if you have a family that's hot to match over the weekend, put in a help with matching request, because whoever is on duty will look at all the matching cases, help with matching cases on that Saturday. And so they will address anything that they can address during that 4-hour period on Saturday. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Then we just, our headquarters just created a new interviewing guide. After this meeting, I will send you a copy of that, but you can find it in portal contents, of course, and the host families have access to it in Family Room under the resources tab.
Is this similar to what is in the host family handbook?
Yes, it's similar to what we've been having, but they just revamped it a little bit.
Okay.
So I will send you all a copy of that after this meeting. In addition to that, we've kind of put some more things in place to make the infant specialized banner a little more clear. We haven't, the infant specialized program, inevitably somebody doesn't read something and doesn't understand what infant specialized means. We have it now on our website, what infant specialized means. We have it in Family Room. And if the family pulls up a profile, right under their name of the au pair, at the very top is the words infant specialized, and then there's a link that says, what does this mean? They can click on that, what does this mean? And they get all the information about infant specialized, including the fact that it costs $950 to have an infant specialized au pair. And as you know, once an au pair has been designated infant specialized, we do not remove that designation. So we've added now one more layer to help host families learn that your au pair they are interviewing is infant specialized and what that means. Does anybody have any questions about the infant specialized program?
No, but we've had a couple of issues lately with people requesting to have au pairs taken out of it.
Right, I know.
I don't know how they can miss it. I mean, it's pretty.
I don't know either, but people don't read. I don't know any other way to explain it. We've also, we have a new procedure for families getting a second au pair. We don't have everybody who gets a second au pair, but we do have that come up. Basically what we do is we create a second account for that family. And what we do is use maybe the spouse's name. So maybe the account is under the host dad's name. They want to get a second au pair. So then we use the host mom's name and her email address. So we need a new name and a new email address to create a second account for that family to have a second au pair. So if it's a single person, obviously they're not going to be able to give us a different name, so we can use a middle initial. So we've got Jeff Smith has an au pair, so then his second au pair will be Jeff W. Smith. So, but he does need to use a different email address for that so that we can keep the two au pairs separate. So if you do have a family that wants a second au pair, just reach out to me and we'll facilitate how to get them that second au pair. The first step, though, is to ask them what name they would like it under and a new email address. And then we can get it going quicker. But if there's any doubt, just ask me. So, okay. I think that's about it. Anything you want to ask me related to matching? I don't want to give you too much all in one time.
Let me get back to the screen where I can see everybody so I can see if anybody else. Wave if you want me to take you off mute.
Jenny, I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So those host families that are no longer active, that are showing up in our active host family dashboard, do we send those to you or to Jennifer to kind of deactivate them?
Either one. What I do is it's easy for me to do. What I do is I go to the position and I basically withdraw the position. So it's pretty easy to do. So Jennifer could do it as well. But yeah, quick email letting me know the host family is no longer interested, and that's what I do.
And that takes them out of the active host family dashboard too?
Yeah, I think so. But that's what we've been told right now. We're not canceling the application outright at this point. We're just withdrawing the position.
Is that all you're doing, Jenny? Because I did not know that.
I know. Well, I was canceling the application and withdrawing the position. Yeah.
So just the position.
Yeah, just the position for now. That's changed.
Okay.
But if we know they're definitely no longer hosting, then you'll cancel the application?
At this point, I have not heard we are canceling the application yet at all. So I'm not sure under what scenario we cancel the application yet.
Okay.
As soon as I do, I'll let you know.
Anybody else have questions for Jenny?
It looks like there might have been some questions typed in here. So
there's a couple questions here. Let's see. Question about abbreviations going back to the start of the call. The question is it okay to use them in monthly contact documentation? Yes, totally fine there because that's internal. And host families, no pairs don't read those. So yes, abbreviations are perfectly acceptable in monthly contact and really any documentation that's not public. Mm-hmm. It's just that parts of the exit interview go right to the screen that the families are looking at. So those are public. And then there's a question, do we have an updated billing reference guide that includes all late and change fees? I don't think we've ever had a pricing sheet that included late and change fees. Jess, do you want to comment on that one?
No, we never have. In what context are they? Because it's not that vast. I mean, it's just and it's all on our website. So it's the arrival date change fee is $200 plus whatever the cost of flights is, which we can't put in a document because it varies. And then there's a $35 late fee for payments if they're late on their bill. But other than the change fees, that there's a cancellation fee if they cancel the program, but that's in the host family agreement. So is it just all those fees that they're talking about? Or like they want it in all in one place?
So Sarah, Sarah, I just unmuted you. Do you want to clarify what you were thinking of there? Sarah? Miss Wenning? I do not know. That was her question, but all I know is what she read. She didn't specify more than that.
Yeah, no, we've never had a one sheet to say what the fee, any miscellaneous fees like that are.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Jess, but we are still, as far as I know, trying not to hand out physical pricing if we can help it, but refer people to the website.
That's exactly right. And refer them to the website and the host family agreement, and I can see she says, Sarah says, my new host family was hit with $500 in various change fees. Example, removing them from infant care, changing the arrival date. Which host family was this? Can you state the name? But I mean, I can talk to her about this on the offline because it's just it's a specific case. So I'll just give her Sarah. I'll just give you a call after this call so we can talk about it and review their account together. You're welcome.
Jess, did you come up with any tidbits you would like to share with my lovely group of ladies?
I only two, because there's just so much, but I know what's been coming prominent from client services, just from what our feedback from our customers are and the frustration that they're experiencing. So the first one is always going to go back to extensions. Extensions are so sensitive, and it's a very important thing for these families to not miss the deadline. And as you guys know, we have things in place to be able to notify families. Our marketing notifies them. They can see it in family room, no pair room, whatever have you. And then we've got Christine, lovely Christine on our end, who follows up with people who have started the application but hasn't actually finished it. When it comes time to a deadline, the only people that we really cannot capture are those people who have never started the application. So they're sitting there in their living room and they're talking amongst themselves going, yeah, I want to extend with my au pair. Yes, you want to extend with her? Great. But they never touch the system. We're not going to find those people. There's no amount of tricks and anything we can do to this system to find people who are thinking about extending with their au pair. So that's really where you ladies come into play. When that email gets sent out on a Monday saying, hey, we've got an extension deadline coming up, that's when you guys need to go into your list and see, who do I have with an au pair who has an extension deadline this week. And then if you can see in the system that they haven't started it or haven't completed it or anything like that, you can go and call them and say, hey, just in case you were planning on extending with your pair, you got to start it now, because there's no way that our marketing team, that Jennifer, that myself, we're not going to be able to find these families and au pairs who want to extend but just never started. So that's really why that email is sent out on a Monday. And even though we've been doing that now for about a month or two, I think Christine started that, and we're still having families come after the deadline going, oh my God, no one told us and I can't believe we missed it. You got to help us. And it's a terrible experience for them. And so that's really where the ADs or you guys are really, really important, a piece of that part, just to catch those people who aren't reading their emails, who aren't going into family room, who literally are not doing anything and expecting au pair care to act as their personal assistant and tell them what to do. So, and they do, you guys, they do. So,
well, just another thing that they could do, the ADs could do in terms of those tasks is when you're doing your orientation with your au pair, set a task for 9 months from now, ask your au pair if she wants to extend. And then you can help her start the extension process then. That way, if she's not reading her emails, part of your monthly call that month is to talk to her specifically about extending.
Yeah, it's anything you guys can do to remind yourselves and just to kind of be that extra support for them. It's sad that all of our notifications just are not working. I mean, they get notified. I think they're probably annoyed with us, but those families that just think that it's going to happen automatically and it doesn't. So that's where you guys come in. So that's it for extensions. Other than that, I feel like our process is way better than it was when we first launched Salesforce, and we've got a good handle on it. It's just we can't find those outliers who aren't really actually starting anything. And then the other thing is this placement change fee discount. We're still having some problems with this. I know that it's really, really, I know that it's easy to want to say, hey guys, I know you're going through such a hard time and you're going to get this $300 placement change fee discount. Guys, I have to be honest with you. There's a very select few families who are actually only eligible for that. And if you bring it up to a family who's not, they are going to get so mad when client services comes to them and goes, I don't know what your area director told you, but you're not going to get it. I've got 3 of these cases on my hand right now. And I think the problem is because we definitely want to come to something with them positive and just be like, hey, you're going to get it. And it's in the transition document, but it's also in the transition document who's actually eligible for it. So I want to explain, I think, again, to you guys why that's there, and the purpose of that discount, and also just in terms of when you're giving them the host family and transition document and mentioning it to them. It's better not to focus on that unless you know for sure that that family is going to get it. And you have to look at the contract, see if they're eligible for it, look at what's happened in their account. So there's a lot of things to check to make sure that they're eligible for it. But this placement change fee discount was put into place because, as you guys all know, families will start a program with a discount, $500 repeat host family discount, a switching discount, or whatever have you. And then they go into placement change, and their next placement, they're not eligible for any discounts. The system will not put a single discount on it. It won't give them a repeat discount. They won't be eligible for the early match discount, for anything. So we added this placement change fee discount of $300 to mitigate that family's loss, because they paid one rate for their first au pair, and then the second au pair is going to be at full cost because there's no discounts available. That placement change fee discount is only given to families who have matched with a 12-month au pair. That match with that 12-month au pair is ending in the first 6 months, and their previous placement was completed. I mean, that's a mouthful, and I know it's probably going over everyone's head, but it's very specific who's actually eligible for that placement change fee discount, and it's not every single placement change. It's not for in-country au pairs. It's not for families who have had multiple match breaks in a row. It's not for families that have matched with less than 12 months. I mean, it's very specific in the contract who gets it. So I just want to caution everybody when they're speaking to families about this, that they don't make it seem like they're automatically going to get it, because it's only specific families in certain situations who are eligible for it. In my head, I kind of wish it was eligible for every placement change, because it would make life so much easier, but it really is not. And it's not meant to be. I've had some families say, oh, well, I'm getting this discount because you guys feel bad for us and that you recognize that we went through a hard time. I'm like, that's not why you get that discount. That it is not there because we're trying to alleviate your interim childcare. It's not there because we're trying to. That's funny. I'm sorry. There was someone waving in the background. It's not there because we're trying to help them because they have to do interim childcare, anything like that. It's really there because the discounts that are traditionally available to families go away the minute they have a placement change. That's why it's there. And it's never going to cover a $500 discount that they got before. It's going to help that, but it's not going to replace it. I would caution against try to use it because, oh, well, we understand, we feel bad for you guys, and this is terrible, and I can't believe your au pair did this. Here's $300. That's not why it's there. So those two things. One, it's not. I hate to call it a pity discount, but it's not a pity discount, and it's not there to and it's not there for every family. It really isn't. So just be really careful when you're telling them, because when it comes to client services and my team, oh man, we get the wrath of it when we have to tell them that they're not eligible for it. And it makes an already terrible situation, because they've lost their au pair, worse, because then we're coming to them saying, oh yeah, you're not getting that $300 discount. So that was my two things. I can't hear you, Jennifer. I can't hear you, Jennifer. No.
Okay, sorry.
No.
I was trying to do it the wrong way. I muted myself so you didn't hear my son crashing around in the kitchen. Does anybody else have questions for Jess or her department? So invoicing, billing, extensions, travel, education. It seems like we have a lot of questions, or a lot of cases anyways, for her department on a pretty regular basis. Does anybody have any other questions for her?
Oh, I see one in here. Someone said, I haven't been receiving any email confirmations about extension approvals. So I think I don't know if it was your call that I said that. You guys aren't going to get those confirmation emails anymore. I had fought tooth and nail with IT to make this happen, because all those emails are now automatically coming through the system and not like by Christine or myself. And I told them how important it is for you guys to be copied on them, but they can't make the system copy people on those emails that are automated from the system. But what I do want to show you guys is where to look if you're curious as to if their extension has been submitted to the Department of State or approved by the Department of State. You can see this at any time on the extension engagement. And I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see, okay?
And I'll just make another pitch for tasks. That's another thing you can set a task for. If you know a family, an au pair has applied, set yourself a little task to check this account in 7 days to see if it's approved yet.
Yeah. Can everyone see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to go on this engagement. This engagement is an extension. You can see she's extending with her current host family for 9 months. If you scroll down past all this stuff to the CVIS information section, you will see here, and let me make this bigger. Oh, that would be bigger. Okay. Oh my God, that's huge. Okay. So you will see on the extension engagement, CVIS information section, CVIS extension submitted to the Department of State on May 9th. So we sent it to the Department of State on May 9th. The Department of State approved it. Oh my God, that's a fast turnaround time. They approved it the next day on May 10th. And then the au pair, when we enter a date in here, the au pair and the host family receive a confirmation email. And let me see if this account has it. Do you guys know that you can see notifications, what emails that they're getting? I know that everyone's muted, but you can. If you go to notifications, see every email that's sent by the system. This was done back in May, and so those automated emails weren't done yet, but you'll see if you hover over notifications, it would say extension approval sent or whatever, and it'll have the email actually in notifications. This one was done manually, so this is a really bad example because this one happened a long time ago. But going forward, those families will get notifications when we send it to the department. The family and the au pair get notified via email that we've sent it to the Department of State, and they get notified when it's approved. And so if you want to see when that's done, you go on the engagement for the date, and then if you want to just verify that the email was sent, you hover over notifications. This probably was implemented, I would say, about 2 months ago. So anything prior to July, you're not going to see those automatic emails in here because we were doing it all manually. So just keep that in mind and don't freak out if you don't see the notification. It doesn't mean they didn't get it. It just means that they weren't part of the automated process now. Same with on the engagement. We didn't used to have these fields for at least the last 2 months is when we've been using them. So I hope that helps. Stop sharing.
Yes, Miss Renee.
Is that CVIS information on the account page, or is it on, what page is it on?
The engagement. It's always going to be on the engagement, whether it's the original engagement or the extension engagement or the renewal engagement. It's on the engagement.
Okay, well, sorry for sounding kind of not knowing enough about Salesforce, but so do I go on the account page and then find the engagement, or is it just an engagement page? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I understand, but let me see if I can just use this girl as an example, okay?
Okay.
And am I not sharing my screen again? Let me share my screen. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, share my screen. Can you guys see my screen again?
Yes.
Yeah.
So pretend like I'm going to search for this au pair.
Okay.
So here you can click on her account to see her account details, her engagement. So she's got 2 engagements here, right? And you'll see that one's her original and one's her extension. If you ever want to see anything related, you don't have to click. Oh, to answer your question, you do not have to click into the account to get to the engagement. Oftentimes you can go straight to the engagement from the search function here. And
Okay.
this is the only place you're going to see CVIS information is here.
Okay.
Yeah. On this part here. Did I help? Did I actually answer your question?
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, and I have another question.
Sure.
I have an au pair that says she can't send in her completed education forms through Au Pair Room. How do I tell her to do that?
So I'm glad you brought this up because we've been having a lot of au pairs say, I can't do this and I can't do that. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the times they're just not scrolling down. Like you have to literally, when you log into Au Pair Room, you have to scroll down to get to it's called Manage Documents. And you'll see it's like a section for education. It says Manage. The green button to actually upload your stuff is called Manage Documents. the ability to do this is the people who are on program still here, they should have the ability to do this. If they don't, there's a problem with their account. If their program ended and they're like, I want to do it 6 months after I left the United States, they're not going to be able to do it because their program is over. Or if people who are ending their program early, so they're going home because they're homesick, or their boyfriend, or they're getting married, or whatever have you, they're not going to be able to do it because the system's like, hey, you're ending your program early, you don't get a certificate. So it's not going to let them upload anything because they know that they're not going to get a certificate to begin with. So the only people who can really upload documents to the system are people who are on program, and they're still in the home, and they're not in their 30-day travel or anything like that. So I really would encourage au pairs to do this before their programs end early, and just keep in mind for those au pairs who are going home early for whatever reason, they cannot upload their documents.
So they would go into their au pair room and scroll down to manage documents. Correct?
Yeah, let me see if I can log in as an au pair right now.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Oh my gosh. This is a really bad example because I need a new one. Let's see. Okay. Let me find an au pair who would be doing it. Well, let's see if I. Oh, yeah. What is your? Yeah. Why don't we see if she's got a problem? That's a good one.
Okay. So hold on. I gotta find her. It's
Can you guys still see my screen or no? No. Okay. I'll share again.
It's Lorena Hernandez Garcia.
Do you have her ID number?
No. Her host family is with Nor Akras.
Can you spell that?
A-K-R-A-S.
Wait, sorry. Can you spell the last name again?
Yeah. A-H-K-R-A-S.
This one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Lorena. Okay. Oh my. I'm sure I could have spelled that. Okay. I just get so scared when they have like 5 names. I'm like, oh my God. What am I going to do? Okay. I'm just going to log in as her right now. I don't think you guys have the ability to do this, but which is a shame, which is a total shame. But, okay. So you can see I just logged in as her, and it's like, would you like to stay with the Akras family? Or do you want to extend with a new family? And then you see, keep going, returning home. You want to do your flight. And then below all of that is this. So the fact that I could see this managed document here, I'm going to click on it. She can upload it. Do you know what I mean? So there's no problem with her account. She just needs to scroll down to do it. I'm not sure what error message she's seeing because I'm seeing the actual button to do it. I can click on it to actually upload documents. I don't want to do anything now because it's going to make it go away if I actually put something in there for her. But you can see what I mean by they log in. This is the first thing they see, and she just needs to keep scrolling down. And it's your proof of education section here, and manage documents is where all the au pairs will upload their education. So I definitely would encourage you to have the au pair log into au pair room first and say, tell me what you see. Do you actually see this, your proof of education managed document section? If they see it, then great. They can do it. And that saves you from having to open a case. It saves us from having to go to them and say, hey, it's actually there. You can do it. To just guide them to do it that way. But this is what they should see when they are on au pair room to upload their education.
Okay, so then from there, then what does she do? Because I think she's gotten to this point, and then she says from there she's not able to do anything. I don't know.
What does she mean not able to do anything? Like she can't upload the documents, or?
Yeah, she says she's not able to submit them.
I think some au pairs are trying to do this on their phone. They can't. They need to log into an actual computer to upload their documents. So tell her to try to do it from
a do it on iPad?
I am going to say no. I don't know. I've never tried it. I know the phone's not going to work, but you can tell her to try. If it doesn't work on the iPad, you can tell her to log into a desktop or a laptop.
Okay. Will that ever change? Because I have a lot of au pairs that are coming with an iPad or a phone and not a laptop.
Can you do me a favor? can you ask this au pair if she can try on her iPad? And if it doesn't work, then I can go to our IT team and tell them that this function does not work on an iPad.
Okay,
That would be awesome. That'd be a good
Okay.
tester.
thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have questions for Ginny or Jessica?
I did want to mention one thing too, when Jess said that the families or that the ADs are not notified when an extension gets approved. You are also not notified when a family makes a match. I know I've had area directors who say to me, why didn't I get a notification that this family matched? Because we don't do that anymore. Salesforce does not do that. But you're able to easily find if they've matched by clicking on the account, and then there's a little matches tab up there. If you hover over that, the match will be shown there, and if it's matched, it'll say confirmed at the very end.
Yeah.
So you can check for yourself. You don't have to email me to see if the family matched, or email Jennifer to see if the family matched. You have access to that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions? I don't see any more questions on the log here.
I don't see that either. And Sarah, I'll get back to excuse me, I'll get back to you on your question about the program fees after the call.
All right, ladies, thank you. And that's all I have for you. So if you think of something else, shoot me an email. Otherwise, I will be out of the office for about an hour. I got to run Tim to register for classes, but then I'll be back. So have a good afternoon, and
Thank you for letting me
join.
join.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.